The Riordanverse is a huge universe that Rick Riordan made through 5 main series: Percy Jackson and the Olympians, or PJO, Heroes of Olympus, The Trials of Apollo, Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, and the Kane Chronicles. In my old video of tier ranking Riordanverse books, I went through them all to see which books I liked the best, and I decided to do that again, but with a twist. I gathered 10 of the most disliked Riordanverse books in the fandom, and I'm going to rank them to see which books I like the most despite the hate surrounding them. Before jumping into it though, here are the tiers I'll be placing these books in. Actually good, or the highest tier for books that I actually really like and was surprised by the hate. Great are books that are good but not on par with the previous tier. Alright are books that I'm in the middle with. Understandable hate is the tier for books I understand the hate or dislike but still like somewhat. And lastly, hate is the tier for books that I genuinely didn't like. As expected, there will be spoilers for the Riordanverse in general. I'm going to talk about major books in the universe, so you've been warned. And with that, let's get into it. The first book right here is The Lost Hero. Okay, so we're starting strong. I made a book review on The Lost Hero a few years ago, and if you watched it, then you'd know that I liked the book, but disliked the pacing. It also felt pretty repetitive at times because of the constant attacks and fights that Jason, Piper, and Leo go through, because instead of making the stakes higher, I just felt like the trio would survive anyway because they always did. But I did enjoy it overall. I tried going through why it was so hated in my video of why is The Lost Hero so hated. Okay, that sounds so repetitive, but moving on. I tried to explore the hate in that video, and I was glad that I was not alone with disliking some parts of it. Fans felt the same way with the repetitiveness, along with the disconnection you feel when you try to get to know the main trio. And even the timing of the book felt off because people were expecting a Percy Jackson-centric book like me, but got a new set of characters instead. So I do understand the hate or dislike of the book, but I didn't hate it exactly. It's still a good book to me, especially when rereading it, so I'd place it in the alright tier. Like, I think it's just okay to me. Next is The Sun and the Star. This is going to understandable hate. To be clear, I don't hate The Sun and the Star. It's honestly a good book with some memorable moments, but I didn't fully like it. There's some stuff I didn't like at all when reading, which I went to in detail of my book review, so you can check that out if you want more context, but ultimately I did like the book. It's a nice way to get to know Nico and Will's relationship and a little bit more of the horrors of Tartarus, so I'm still pretty excited how they do this again in The Court of the Dead, or the upcoming Nico and Will book this year. Ultimately though, it's not really my most favorite Riordanverse book, so I guess it's going here. But again, it's still a good book. I enjoyed it, but not my favorite. Up next is The Sea of Monsters. This book is going to great. To be honest, I think this book is really overhated, but I do understand where fans are coming from. The Sea of Monsters is my least favorite PJO book because it's not on par with the rest of the books in the series. It was slow and there were many moments that dragged the book for me. I guess I'm biased to my experience when I first read this book, but I think first impressions do matter at times, which is why I did understand the dislike of this book. I remember feeling like this book was too long at times, but whenever I reread it now to make videos on the PJO show season 2, I realized just how much I overlooked in that book. It actually gave us really good and vital moments in the series, like Thalia's introduction and cliffhanger, the guinea pig scene, the siren scene, introducing Kyra and Centaur family, getting to know Clarisse and her father's relationship, and even Grover in a wedding dress with Polyphemus. These are classic Riordanverse moments, and we wouldn't have gotten any of these if it weren't for The Sea of Monsters. So even if I did have mixed feelings before about this book, I'm placing it high with the great tier now. Up next is The Blood of Olympus. Okay, I get it. Some comments I usually get under my book review of The Blood of Olympus, or my tier ranking Riordanverse books, or in general whenever I mention that I like The Blood of Olympus a lot, people are usually surprised by this and question me about it. But I don't know. I genuinely like this book a lot. I even said in my book review that it was the best Heroes of Olympus book, and I don't think people would agree with me on this. I posted this last 2021, and that's almost like 4 years ago, so did my opinion change? Well, I did reread The Blood of Olympus ever since, and I still liked it. Is it the best Heroes of Olympus book to me until now? I don't think so. I definitely prefer the House of Hades now, but that doesn't stop me from placing it in the highest tier. I really love The Blood of Olympus. It gave me a lot of insights on Reyna's character, Nico literally turning someone into a ghost, Nico and Reyna's friendship, that Persebeth kiss, the Adidas versus Nike joke, and even down to the fight where the gods fought side by side with their kids. There's a lot of good moments for me here, and I read this book so fast. So honestly, I really enjoyed it. The next book over here is The Ship of the Dead, or the third book of the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard trilogy. Okay, this is going to understandable hate. I genuinely had a hard time going through this book because of how slow it was, and the resolution felt too quick. It's a pretty long Magnus Chase book, but it didn't deliver too much for me. This is genuinely one of the few Rick Riordan books that I didn't enjoy as much, but it did have some good moments. Personally, I think I mainly read this book because I connected with the characters, because the plot itself was alright. But if you take away the characters, I probably wouldn't have finished this book. I just loved Magnus and the gang, and honestly seeing Fiyero Chase get together was the main thing I really liked. And the rest of the plot and everything about the book was just alright. Next is... okay, The Tyrant's Tomb. This actually kinda hurts. I don't know why, but I genuinely love this book. Looking at it now though, I kind of get the sentiment. I think it mainly has to do with Frank Zhang surviving the explosion somehow, especially since he burned his lifeline firewood to do that, but I just love Frank's character enough to be happy that he was alive, I guess. That's pretty evident if you watch my video on the real reason Frank Zhang survived, as I took it in a more poetic way of getting rid of Frank's deepest insecurity. With this, I'm placing it in actually good. The Battle of Camp Jupiter, Reyna's moments here, and overall, the adventure of this book was really good to me. And I don't know, I think I found it really satisfying when Caligula and Commodus died. So for me, it's going to this tier. Next is The Sword of Summer, or the first book of the Magnus Chase trilogy. This is going to great, because it was great. I do not understand the hate for this book because that's honestly really harsh to me. The main criticism I see for this one is because of its slow plot, and that's usually the comment given to Rick's books, specifically the ones that are about to start the series. However, I did like the pacing because it gave us a good time to understand the characters and the plot, especially since Magnus Chase takes place in a totally different mythology compared to PJO, Heroes of Olympus, and the Trials of Apollo. So I'd say this book belongs in great. Next is The Dark Prophecy, my least favorite book from the Trials of Apollo series. This is going to understandable hate again. I did not hate this book, but it was hard to get through. I've heard other fans express the same because of the off-pacing, which is a shame because I absolutely love The Hidden Oracle, or the book that took place before this. The Dark Prophecy felt like a random drop in the mood I had for the Trials of Apollo, but I did end up loving it in the end. This book felt like a roller coaster of emotions, and I think the resolution proved worth it enough. The way station was saved, they got Meg back, and they pretty much saved the day, so I still enjoyed some moments from this book. Alright, we're almost done here. Up next is The Red Pyramid, or the first book in the Kane Chronicles trilogy. Now this, I actually understand, but it's the same criticism given to Magnus Chase's first book, or The Sword of Summer. It's hard not to think that this book had way too many things happening. We were trying to get to know Carter and Sadie Kane with another completely different mythology because it's Egyptian mythology and not Greek, and not to mention with so many other characters. Personally, I felt really confused a lot of times when reading this book because of how different it felt, and I guess that's what threw people off. For me though, it just intrigued me even more, and I think I'm placing this in actually good. Based on my experience, I think that The Red Pyramid felt longer than any other Riordanverse introduction book because of the amount of build-up, character growth, and the stakes felt way higher and more intense because it's centered on getting Carter and Sadie's family back, and not to mention Carter and Sadie's sibling dynamic is really realistic and engaging to me. So I genuinely liked it a lot, and I think it's gonna go there. And last but not the least is The Son of Neptune? Okay, now that kinda hurts, because I love this book so much. From the introduction of Camp Jupiter, meeting Frank, Hazel, and Reyna, seeing Percy again after his absence in The Lost Hero, then the battle in Camp Jupiter, getting to know the Amazons and Reyna's sister Hyla. Like, this book had so much, and I did not understand the hate. Okay, so I searched it up why some people don't like this book, And it's because they felt Percy having amnesia was annoying, but it's pretty much part of the plot, so I didn't really feel that way. All of these are just my opinion though, so let me know in the comments what you think. But to me, the Son of Neptune absolutely deserves to go to the actually good tier. And those are all the books that I'll tier rank in this video. How about you? How would you tier rank these books? Let me know in the comments down below.